What you're about to learn has the potential to forever change everything that you think you know about girls, life, and how the real world works. And when you're finished watching this video, you will have the seeds for a set of beliefs that can make you more successful in anything that you choose to do in life. Today, society has all sorts of systems that increase the lifespan of the average male. But a few thousand years ago, these systems simply didn't exist. And during this time, there weren't cars or houses to hide in, and nature was free to allow only the strongest to survive. For example, if a male was excessively overweight, he would most likely be tackled and eaten by a lion or some other larger predator. In today's world, we have systems that allow even the weakest to survive, but there is no escaping nature, because it is programmed into our brains from birth. Put simply, both guys and girls are programmed to look for traits within a mate that will ensure their survival. Attraction takes place on a subconscious level, which means neither I, you, or anyone else can accurately tell you exactly what we're attracted to. Attraction is actually an impulse, like hunger or thirst, that just happens with zero control over it. And this is where things get interesting. Since attraction is an impulse that we have no control over, it is incredibly easy to trigger. But before a guy or girl can become instantly attractive, there is another important evolutionary secret that must be understood. And it's that from an evolutionary standpoint, men are attracted to appearance and girls are attracted to behavior. In other words, to trigger attraction within most girls and to push the pre-programmed buttons, all that a guy needs to do is alter his behavior in a few simple ways. Due to things like the halo effect, guys who are unattractive are already fighting an uphill battle. So when they break all of the evolutionary rules for attraction, it becomes a competition that is almost impossible to win. But by altering their behavior, these men, and all men for that matter, can create their own advantage and level the playing field, not just when it comes to competing for mates, but for almost every situation in life. The main trait that will trigger the evolutionary default settings for most girls is confidence. But most people don't truly understand what this is. To put it simply, confidence is the ability to look certain when handling uncertainty. An ideal male in the eyes of pretty much every girl walking the face of the earth is a man who is dominant, courageous, and optimistic. The most important thing to remember here is that a confident person is someone who appears to be certain. In other words, it's how a man behaves that determines if people view him as confident. Throughout high school, you've probably seen many guys who lack any real skills, but somehow, some way, a wide variety of girls find them attractive just because they appear to be confident. It's like a hand in poker. You don't know if the other player's hand can actually beat what you have. But if he succeeds in bluffing well enough to make you think that he can beat you, then he has an excellent chance of actually beating you, whether we want to believe it or not. The same is true for real life. And as we've all seen before, oftentimes, it is the loudest and most obnoxious person who wins, and not the person who truly has the skills to back up what they're saying. So to be successful with anything, you only have to appear to be confident. And the most important part of being confident is appearing to be certain, even if on the inside you're scared out of your mind and have no idea what you're going to do. All too often, especially guys in a relationship, get too comfortable and start expressing uncertainty. Since this is traditionally a feminine trait, girls find it very unattractive when males express uncertainty about anything. This includes your body language, such as your facial expressions and voice tonality, and the actual words that you speak. The word confidence is used here as an umbrella term, and it represents the behaviors needed to appear certain when facing uncertainty. Now, the second part of confidence is dominance. From an evolutionary point of view, guys are seen as dominant and girls are viewed as submissive, but dominance can only be determined in relation to other people. And it's the guy who seems the most sure of himself around others that is viewed as the dominant male. If you want to be attractive to most girls 100% of the time, then all that you have to do is be dominant 100% of the time. But you really only need to be dominant around the girl that you're dating or in a relationship with. According to the rules of nature, girls are submissive and guys are dominant. So girls subconsciously find dominant guys attractive, and guys are subconsciously more attracted to submissive girls. Here's the perfect example to demonstrate that. Picture a girl wearing a small, weak-looking necklace around her neck. The necklace is tighter around her neck, and it is designed to be thin and weak-looking, which are all signs of submission. The necklaces that are made for men are bigger, thicker, heavier, and much looser around the neck. These are all signs of dominance and the polar opposite of submission. Everything that we wear as humans, from clothes to jewelry and even the cars that we drive, are designed to be either masculine or feminine. This is why a group of guys will feel an impulse to laugh when they see a huge, dominant, masculine-looking guy driving a Prius or a VW Bug. Here's another excellent example. Why do you think girls always take selfies while holding the camera up and above them? They do this because it causes them to have to look up, which makes them appear small and submissive in the picture. And as a result, they push the evolutionary attraction button within men that makes us impulsively attracted to girls who appear to be weak and submissive. But girls don't do these things consciously. They simply do them because it feels right. The same is true for guys who take 10 pictures and choose the one that makes them look the strongest or manliest. If you were to ask us why we want to look stronger, we probably wouldn't tell you, but we do it to look more attractive to girls. Every man, from birth, is designed to be confident, curious, and dominant. At the moment of birth, we're like a pile of every single car part needed to build a Ferrari. Every part that we need to turn into the incredible machine that is the Ferrari is right there. But for many of us, during the vital years following our birth, we are stripped of the huge V12 engine we had, and it's replaced with a tiny 4-cylinder. Our loud, powerful exhaust is swapped out for a weak-sounding, constricted model, and some random person steals our manual transmission and replaces it with an automatic. Our parents, environment, and experiences after birth shape us into who we are now. And for many guys, all of their Ferrari parts have been replaced with the biological equivalent of a scooter, which obviously most girls are not going to find attractive from an evolutionary standpoint. All this really means is that you will always have the Ferrari inside of you. The key, however, is getting rid of the Prius to rediscover it. So to sum it all up, from an evolutionary standpoint, girls are impulsively attracted to guys who appear to be confident, dominant, and masculine. And to keep it simple, all that you really need to make most girls attracted to you is confidence and dominance. But here's the secret to success in everything, and the key to gaining the true confidence that you need to rediscover the Ferrari within you. And the answer is progress. If you were to ask 10 different guys who appear to be masters at interacting with girls what their secret is, you would probably get 10 different answers. Some will say that it's money, some will say that it's their ripped six-pack abs, and others will tell you that it's their Lamborghini or their giant mansion that they live in, and some might even say that it's because they're funny. What you probably weren't expecting is that every answer is correct, and here's why. As men, we gain confidence as we make progress in areas where we're lacking. Right now, your biggest insecurity might be your lack of money or financial resources. For another guy, it might be his lack of six-pack abs or the fact that his body is overweight and not fit. All 10 of these guys were missing something, and during this time, they felt like they couldn't succeed with much of anything, especially girls, until they had whatever it was that they thought they needed. So once they obtained it, they were no longer lacking, and confidence took the place of the insecurity. This is the reason why all 10 answers were correct. So the answer to gaining this confidence for any guy is simply progress towards fixing what it is that he is lacking. This progress is what creates the confidence that spills over into every aspect of your life and allows you to gain success, not just with girls, but with all things in life. Therefore, taking action and making progress towards eliminating your insecurities is the best way to gain the confidence that you need to remain certain while facing uncertainty. Of course, money and a six-pack will slightly increase your attractiveness, but at the core, it is the confidence gained from progress towards improving yourself that will make all of the difference. Now get out there and trade in the Prius for the Ferrari that you were born with. And with that said, until next time, thanks for watching. The next time that you're at the grocery store or with a group of friends, look around a little bit. What do you see? Chances are you'll see the nice guy. He might even be staring back at you when you look in the mirror. Every man on the planet falls into one of 3 groups. These groups are the alpha males, the beta males, and the nice guys. Now, I've made videos in the past about these topics, but this one will go much deeper, so that wherever you're currently at in life, you can transition to become the alpha. A lot of guys believe that you must be born this way, but this is like saying that you must be born to be a good football player. Sure, some guys are naturally more inclined to be an alpha because of how they grew up, just like some guys are naturally better at gaining muscle or playing football. In life, there will always be someone better than you. There will always be a guy who's more alpha, who's better looking, who has more money. But that should never stop you from striving to become the best that you can be and to quit being a nice guy. The truth is, A lot of men fall into the nice guy category, even without realizing it. The main belief that all nice guys have is thinking that if they're just nice enough to everyone, the universe will give them exactly what they want. But as you already know, this isn't how the real world works. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The nicer you are, the more people will take advantage of you. Before we continue, understand that this doesn't mean that you have to be a jerk to attract girls, although this archetype has been proven throughout the ages. In psychology, there is something called compensation, and this is when you go to one extreme to avoid the other. When trying to transition from a nice guy or beta male to an alpha, a lot of guys make the mistake of compensating, and they go from being a pushover nice guy to a total jerk, which in terms of an enjoyable life can be just as bad. The stereotypical nice guy is everywhere. He could be the guy bagging your groceries or the cashier at the local gas station. Nice guys and beta males are extremely common, and a lot of guys carry on this role well into their 40s and 50s without ever realizing what's wrong. Every nice guy is unique, but there are some common traits that they all share. The major defining trait of every nice guy is the need for approval. He is always seeking approval from everyone he comes across in life. At the core, almost everything a nice guy does is used to gain validation from somebody else. Now, another trait of the nice guy is trying to fix everything, even if nobody asks him to. The nice guy identifies as a giver, but unlike an alpha who gives just to give with no strings attached, the nice guy gives to make others appreciate and love him. One of the defining traits of the nice guy is avoiding conflict. Let's look at Bob. Bob is a typical nice guy. He works at the local grocery store. Bob says he loves his job and does everything that he can to avoid rocking the boat or upsetting people. A customer comes in one day and tries to return products that they stole from the store for money. Now, it's painfully obvious what the customer is trying to do, but instead of calling them out on it, Bob just returns the item because he doesn't want to upset anyone. The next day, Bob's manager finds out what happened, and since the company lost thousands of dollars because of it, Bob is fired on the spot. Now, when Bob pulls into his driveway after losing his job, he doesn't understand why he was punished for being so nice and not upsetting the customer. The point here is that the nice guy will do anything to avoid conflict, even at his own expense. Now, another trait of the nice guy is hiding his flaws and mistakes, and he is also notorious for holding in his feelings. One of the defining traits of the nice guy is being more comfortable relating to girls than guys. Bob, the nice guy, is the dude sitting at the restaurant table with 3 girls, talking about how Billy is so bad for the girls. Bob is the guy that girls will talk to when they're trying to find out if Billy is a player. When asked, Bob will say that Billy is a player, and he will also talk about how Billy doesn't know how to treat girls, and if only these girls could find a nice guy like Bob, they would be set. So many guys do little things that they don't even realize makes them look like a nice guy. Imagine Bob is with Jenny, and they're hanging out at the movies. Bob, the nice guy, keeps looking over at Jenny every couple of minutes, and notices that she looks angry or bored. Bob keeps asking her if she's angry or bored every few minutes, not realizing that, from the girl's perspective, he looks incredibly needy, because he's basing his mood and his happiness on whether or not Jenny looks like she's having a good time. Most nice guys will make their girlfriend their emotional anchor, and they can't be happy if the girl isn't happy. The most popular line that you'll always hear a nice guy say is, "What's wrong with being nice?" The truth is that there is nothing wrong with being nice to people, but the main problem is with beliefs. Unlike the nice guy, the alpha male isn't nice to others because he's seeking validation. It is easy to get angry at the alpha who speaks his mind, even if it insults someone. But let me ask you this, who would you rather have as a friend? The alpha, who can come off as rude but honest, or the nice guy, who is naturally dishonest because he always avoids conflict? The reality is that since the nice guy doesn't want to rock the boat or upset anyone, he ends up being dishonest, secretive, manipulative, controlling, and passive-aggressive. So now that we know all of the traits of the nice guy, it is time to finally put an end to this belief system. And in its place, you'll hold the core beliefs of the alpha. So who is the alpha, and what makes him a dominant leader? The defining traits of the alpha are a strong sense of self. Through experience, the alpha has discovered who he really is, and he has no problem accepting his flaws. The second trait of the alpha is integrity, and integrity is simply doing what is right, even if it's not what's expected by society or loved ones. The third defining trait of the alpha is making sure that his needs are met above anyone else. Rather than give all the time, the alpha always makes sure that his needs are met, and then he caters to the needs of others. A basic example of this is taking time for yourself to improve your career or some other aspect of your life. The fourth trait of the alpha is being a leader and providing for people that he cares about. The fifth, and arguably the most important trait of the alpha male, is expressing his feelings in a clear, direct way. The alpha is also nurturing and giving, but he doesn't do these things to be validated in the eyes of others. Something else that sets the alpha apart from the beta males and the nice guys is boundaries, and he is never afraid to handle conflict. To finally leave the nice guy behind and transition to the alpha male, you must completely change your belief system. You must change not only the way you view yourself, but also the way that you view the world. In my other video about nice guys, a lot of people said thanks for identifying the problem, but not telling us exactly how to fix it. Transitioning from the nice guy to the alpha male in most cases is really just about embracing your role as a man. Most of the behaviors and beliefs attached to the nice guy can be fixed by embracing what it is to truly be a man. Let me tell you a simple and incredibly powerful tip that you can use to start becoming an alpha immediately. The next time that you're talking to someone, or doing anything for that matter, think really hard about why you were doing it. For example, at work or in school, maybe you're too nice to everyone because you want to fit in. Do you always cover everyone else's shifts, even when they've never helped cover one of yours? Your goal is basically to eliminate all of the traits that make you a nice guy. For example, most nice guys keep their emotions bottled up because they're afraid of conflict. To eliminate this trait, don't bottle them up. And if something is bothering you, don't be afraid to say so. When eliminating the traits of the nice guy, it is all about balance, and you should never go from one extreme to the other. For example, the opposite extreme of keeping your emotions bottled up is acting like an angry gorilla. The alpha male doesn't go to either extreme, so he's right in the middle, balanced. If he has some anger, he allows it to come out, but it's all about balance. Here's another great example. The nice guy depends on others for his happiness, and if they're not happy, he's not happy. The next time you're around your girlfriend or friends and they don't seem to be happy, allow yourself to be in a good mood, even if they're not. What you'll find is that by doing this, their moods will likely change from bad to good, just because you stopped basing your happiness or mood on how they're feeling. One of the major defining traits of the nice guy is avoiding conflict. Now, the alpha doesn't go looking for trouble, but he is never afraid of conflict, and you shouldn't be either. Don't be afraid to tell someone the truth or stand up for what you believe in. If you think you're not being treated fairly at work, be the alpha and speak up about it. If you're working 10 times harder than everyone else, but you're still getting paid the same amount, don't drop yourself down to their level and do less work. Instead, know what you're worth and stand up for what you deserve. If your manager or whoever is above you doesn't understand or has the same mindset as the employees who don't want to work, then maybe it's time for a new occupation. Sure, conflict doesn't feel very good, but as long as it's for the right cause, your self-confidence will grow, and the beta males will respect you for it every time you rock the boat when it needs to be rocked. Another simple example. Nice guys give to be validated and accepted by others. The alpha, on the other hand, gives with no strings attached, and he never expects validation in return. Here's an easy example. The alpha male pays for a vacation to a tropical island with his girlfriend because he makes plenty of money and just wants to relax and have some fun with her. The nice guy takes his girlfriend on the same vacation, but the difference, as usual, is his perspective. You see, the alpha pays for the vacation because it's easy for him and he wants to have fun, but the nice guy pays for the vacation because he is expecting validation from his girlfriend, her friends, or even family members. The difference is in the motive behind the vacation. At the end of the day, nobody is perfect, and life isn't perfect, but this shouldn't stop you from trying to reach your full potential as a man. You see, the nice guy believes that by just being nice to everyone, he can have a perfect, smooth, conflict-free life. But there is no such thing. Life will never be smooth. It will never stop testing you and pushing you to become a better man. You need the lows in life to truly enjoy the highs. If you're currently a nice guy and want to become the alpha, take pride in knowing where you've been, because it will make each step of your journey that much more satisfying. And with that said, As always, you guys are awesome. And until next time, thanks for watching. Every single day, millions of guys and girls are tested and they don't even know it. Most will fail these tests because they had no idea they were being tested in the first place. If someone tests you and you fail, it's not the end of the world, but it could be the end of a good opportunity. You see, in life, you'll find that many opportunities are hidden behind a wall of fear, but there is another wall that is rarely talked about, and it's a test. Think back to a time when you were younger, or if you're fairly young, think back to the last time you were around what could be considered an alpha male. If you've ever been locked up, you'll quickly find out who the toughest guys are. How did you feel around this person? Chances are you were tested by the alpha and you probably failed. Like I said, it's not the end of the world, but it could be the end of a great opportunity. You see, we all know that girls test guys, and they do this because they have a lot at stake when choosing a partner. What a lot of guys don't realize is that guys also test guys, but for different reasons. When a girl tests you, she's probing for emotional weakness. And one of the most attractive traits that you can have is emotional strength. And by passing the tests that girls put you through, your attraction in her eyes will go way up. Passing tests from girls is great because it can help you take things to the next level. But tests with guys are slightly different. Before we get into how to actually test other men, think about this for a second. Imagine your friend sets you up to play a card game with some group of guys. You show up at the house and walk into the garage. Now, you immediately notice 4 rugged, tough-looking dudes looking at you. You walk over, introduce yourself, and get ready to play. In the beginning, all of the guys seemed really nice, but after about 30 minutes or so, they begin to pick at you. They've started to peel back the layers of your personality to see who you really are as a man. After listening to your voice tonality and paying careful attention to the things you've said to them, they've effectively sized you up. Now, imagine that you're super skinny and kind of nerdy looking. Maybe in school, kids occasionally made fun of you for these things, so you're pretty insecure about them. You pick up some of the cards and move them to the center of the table. All of a sudden, one of the guys makes a joke, asking you if you're sure if you can lift the cards to the middle of the table. Although he's making what he said to you a joke, as is the case with most funny jokes, there is actually some truth to it. By saying this, the guy is basically calling you out on your biggest emotional weakness. This is your standard test. When among a new group of guy friends, you can almost think of it like an initiation. Everybody talks about the tests that girls run on guys, but you never hear anyone talking about how guys test other guys. When you're younger, such as when you're in high school, the testing is much more pronounced, and in many cases, it can be much harsher than how a grown man would test you. It is important to realize that you don't have to be big and muscular to be an alpha, but in my opinion, it definitely helps your confidence, which directly translates to being a dominant male. The defining trait of the alpha male is emotional strength. So going back to the example with the card game, how do you think you should handle the test? After the guy makes the joke, how you respond to it will determine if you fail or pass the test. Now let's look at some of the possible outcomes. Option A involves saying nothing, but as you can imagine, you would look pretty ridiculous and weird if you chose to go this route. Option B would be to laugh with him at the joke, but understand that if you do this, you're basically failing the test. By laughing with him and saying nothing else, you're passing one part of the test but failing the other. Every single time a guy runs a test on you, he is basically saying, I'm more of an alpha than you are. What are you going to do about it? Fail too many of these tests in front of other guys, and your rank among the group will drop. As your rank among the other males drops, the other betas within the group will also begin to test you, and eventually, everyone in the group will view you as nothing more than an emotional punching bag. As mentioned earlier, alpha is a frame of mind, among other things. So option A is saying nothing, and option B is laughing at the joke at your own expense. Option C is getting super defensive about it, and this is absolutely the worst thing you can do. Why? Because it shows weakness. I've mentioned that in many ways, humans act a lot like animals. And in the animal kingdom, monkeys do some absolutely crazy things to gain power within their society. In one study, a monkey named Buddy was bitten by the dominant monkey of the group. Now, instead of at least delivering an equal blow back to the monkey who bit him, Buddy decided to run away in fear. Now, all of Buddy's friends happened to be around at the time, and you would think, logically, that they would help him, right? Wrong. In fact, Buddy's friends not only didn't protect or help him, they actually chased after him with the alpha monkey to inflict even more damage on him. This is similar to how it works with human males, but instead of chasing you physically, other guys will chase you emotionally. In other words, if the alpha male pokes you and you show fear and weakness, the other males in the group will likely do the same over time, until you're viewed as the lowest ranking member of the group. In the experiment with the monkeys, Buddy would have been quite literally eliminated if researchers hadn't removed him from the enclosure. As a child, my parents always told me not to act afraid around the dog, because dogs can sense and even smell a person's fear, which can actually force the dog to act in an aggressive way. This same concept applies to humans, but in a slightly different way. Like many types of animals, other guys can sense fear and weakness. This is why you've always been told to never turn your back on a bear and start running, because this will instinctively force the bear to view you as a prey animal, which will start a chase that you won't win. So with that said, going back to the card game example, we are left with one last option, which is option D. This response involves showing no weakness and matching the alpha blow for blow. This means that when another guy pokes at you, you poke back. This is easier to do with people that you know a little bit about, and it's harder to do with complete strangers. If you don't know the person well enough to know their potential weakness, all that you have to do is neutralize the test by laughing about it and then turning it into a compliment about yourself in some way. The key point here is responding in a way that doesn't make you look weak or defensive. At their core, the tests that guys run on you are basically all about respect. They are probing you for confidence and to see if you respect yourself. Because if you don't respect yourself, you can't respect them. Get this, in the animal kingdom, a pack of wolves will almost never organize to go after another pack of wolves, but they will routinely single out and go after a weakened member of their own group. Logically, this doesn't really make any sense, but it's just how many types of animals work. And as humans, since we hold many similarities with wolves and monkeys, oftentimes, we act and think in similar ways. By understanding this behavior, you'll know exactly what to do to gain respect among a group of guys, and you'll also know what to do when another guy is trying to flirt with your girl. Which brings me to the next point. If a guy is trying to flirt with your girlfriend, one of the easiest and most effective ways to handle the situation is to test him. 9 times out of 10, the guy is only bluffing, and once he fails the test, your girlfriend will be reassured that you're the alpha and the other guy will be viewed as the beta. And since all girls want an alpha, this is the best position for you to be in. Now, to actually test the guy, all that you need to do is make a joke that positions you as the alpha. This could involve a perceived weakness that the guy has, or it could be something totally made up. If you can think fast and you have great wit, this is much easier to do, but these aren't requirements. The key is to make what you're saying sound like a joke, but really, it is actually a way to increase your perceived value while putting down the value of the other male. It is up to you to decide what needs to be said. Knowing how guys test guys and how you can stand your ground, gain respect, and go blow for blow with the alpha on an emotional level is fundamental knowledge that all guys should know. And at the end of the day, it will help you to become a better man overall. And with that said, until next time, thanks for watching. Girls have an incredible ability to read body language and facial features. In most cases, they can tell when a person is upset long before the person says anything about it. Scientists believe they develop this way because they must nurture things and form stronger emotional bonds than men. Girls also have slightly better hearing than men, so they can hear a wider range of sounds and detect the slightest changes in your voice. Some studies show that girls can read body language 2 to 3 times better than men, so if you're a beta male, good luck trying to hide it. We live in a world that has caused a lot of men to develop a beta personality. A lot of men have lost touch with their masculinity, and they've resorted to things like calling other guys names over the internet. Many interactions in today's world take place through a smartphone or social media, and a lot of guys don't meet face to face. Some guys are unknowingly displaying all the signs of the beta male, and they wonder why they're not getting attention from girls or why they can't seem to get a girlfriend. The good news is that if you're displaying the signs of a beta male, all hope is not lost. There's a good chance that the only problem is that you've lost touch with your manhood and it's time to get it back. In the animal kingdom, the alpha male is the top-ranking animal within his social group. Depending on the type of animal, the alpha male is chosen through simple play fights with the other males or very aggressive battles. The current alpha in the group must defend his rank against younger males. As the top-ranking male, the alpha gets to choose what females he wants to mate with. When it comes to people, it's pretty much the same thing, but you don't have to fight any wolves or monkeys. The major difference between the alpha among humans and the one in the animal kingdom is that with humans, it's about the mental state. Having decent muscles is always a plus, but in the real world, even skinny guys can be alpha males. You just have to know the signs that you're being a beta male and change them. A typical beta male is a nice guy. The problem is not being nice, it's just that he's too nice. Let me take a second to give you some of the best advice you'll ever receive. Everything in life, whether it's being nice, being aggressive, or anything you can think of, comes down to moderation. There are times when an alpha must be nice, but the difference is that the beta male is nice all the time, as opposed to some of the time. He doesn't show self-control, and he's nice to everyone, every time, in every situation. The second major sign of the beta male is questioning your ability. A beta male lacks the pure confidence that is held by the alpha. The beta male constantly second guesses himself and makes excuses to not do something even if he can do it. A great example of this is repeatedly asking your girlfriend for approval for your outfits and most things that you do. If the beta male doesn't even have confidence in his ability to dress himself, then how can he expect girls to trust him? The third sign of the beta male is constantly worrying about what others think. The beta male doesn't do many things in life because he cares too much about what other people think of him. He might not go swimming because he worries about what other people think of his body. He avoids fun events with his girlfriend because he's afraid of what others will think of him. The beta male even worries about what family and friends think of him. In the end, he lives a boring, unfulfilled life because he allows the opinions of others to stop him from doing what he wants. The fourth sign of the beta male is putting the needs of everyone else before his own. As mentioned earlier, it all comes down to moderation. The difference is that the beta male always puts everyone else's needs before his and is unable to selectively choose when to put the needs of others in front of his own. The fifth sign of the beta male is that he is secretive and doesn't make his desires known to others. The beta is like anyone else. He has raw desires, dreams, and career aspirations, but he always keeps these things to himself because he is too afraid to be judged by others. He lacks the confidence to share these aspirations with the rest of the world. Some guys only display one or two of these traits, but in many cases, displaying just one of these traits makes it more likely that you'll display all of them. If you're unknowingly displaying the signs of the beta male, I've got good news for you. You can start working on yourself, reclaim your manhood, and become the alpha male. But first, you need to understand what it actually means to be an alpha male. The number one trait, the thing that sets the alpha male apart from the betas, is confidence. And if you can master this single trait, most of the other requirements of the alpha will automatically fall into place. The alpha thinks highly of himself in any situation, and he's not always right or perfect, but he believes in his ability no matter what anyone says. The second sign of the alpha is that he's not embarrassed easily and doesn't worry about other people's opinions. The alpha is known for speaking up, going against social norms, and doing what he wants. The third sign of the alpha is masculinity. The alpha male is a real man, and alphas come in all different shapes and sizes. They're leaders, dominant, and comfortable around girls. The alpha is not rude, and he's not a jerk, but he knows what he wants and he takes it. With this state of mind, he makes requests and does things that beta males won't. The alpha is direct and honest, never afraid to speak his mind. He is direct in his communication, and if he needs something, he'll tell you directly. The alpha male is also social and has a dynamic personality that allows him to connect with many types of people. Another major feature that sets the alpha apart from the beta is his ability to take chances. He isn't afraid to take big or small risks, and he knows that success comes only from taking chances, which is why he's not afraid to fail. Now that you understand the differences, you must learn some simple tips that will help you start transitioning into the role of the alpha. To become the alpha male, deal with your fears and stop running from them. At the core of every beta male, you'll find self-inhibition and passiveness. The fear can appear in many forms, and like confidence, fear is like a seed. Let's say you want to approach a beautiful girl, but you start thinking about all the things that could go wrong, and you abandon the idea. At the exact moment that the fear won, a little seed was planted in your head. The next time you want to take a risk for yourself and get too scared to do it, that little seed will grow, and over time it will become so big that it will overwhelm your entire life with fear. Before you know it, the fear will feel so strong that approaching a beautiful girl will literally seem impossible. And the crazy thing is that this giant tree of fear grew from some imaginary seed. The fear was never real to begin with, but you gave it power. To become an alpha male, you must always deal with your fears and never be afraid to speak up for yourself, even if you don't need to. The second step to becoming an alpha is to be okay with conflict. Realize that you'll always have conflicts in your life, whether it's with a girl, a close friend, or the guy at the DMV. And instead of getting aggressive, learn to be okay with the conflict. The third step to becoming an alpha is getting over your self-inhibition, which means to stop being shy, feeling scared, and feeling inferior. You can't be an alpha when you're constantly thinking about your problems and flaws. The fourth step to developing the alpha mentality is learning how to be assertive. Assertiveness means to stand up for yourself without being aggressive or passive. If the guy at the movie theater did you wrong and made you pay $9 for old stale popcorn, you don't need to punch him in the face. You also don't need to tell your girlfriend about it in a passive, negative way. If the alpha paid $9 for popcorn at the movies and got a stale batch, you better believe he's going to stand up for his rights and get some fresh popcorn. Being assertive is really just standing up for your rights in a non-aggressive, non-passive way. To become the alpha, don't be a follower, and realize that this has nothing to do with becoming a rebel. If it's required, the alpha can be a follower, but when it comes to important decisions, he always has his own sense of direction. He doesn't ask his friends if he should go to college or become an entrepreneur. He doesn't ask his friends if he should stay with this girl. He has his own compass, his own sense of direction. One of the biggest mistakes that guys make when trying to transition to the alpha is unknowingly becoming an aggressive beta male. The only thing that's worse than a beta male is an aggressive one. You have to understand that being the alpha does not mean going from one extreme to another. It's like the guys who are secretly soft but go to every extreme in an attempt to convince others they are not soft. You don't have to get arrested to make yourself look tough, and you don't need to cover your body with tattoos of skulls and barbed wire. When you go to extremes, such as being overly aggressive, you're displaying behaviors of compensation. In other words, you're being too aggressive or too mean to compensate for feeling too soft inside. People go to extremes in one direction to try to prove that they've never been in the other direction. An aggressive beta male is the worst thing you can be because you're not an alpha, but you're also not even a beta. You'll just look confused about who you are, and girls will pick up on this quickly. Remember that girls are like metal detectors, but for people. With a quick swipe of their eyes, they can see what's hiding just beneath the surface. With that said, I love you guys, and I wish you all an amazing 4th of July. And be sure to leave a comment letting me know what is stopping you from being an alpha. And until next time, thanks for watching. Respect. All guys want it, but most don't know how to get it. It was Bruce Lee who said, "Knowledge will give you power, but character, respect." This means that knowledge is one aspect of respect, and character is the other, deeper part of it. When you respect another person, you're basically admiring them for their knowledge, abilities, character, or all of the above. So with that said, as guys, how do we make other men respect us? I believe there are two forms of respect. The first is superficial. Imagine you see this guy pull up to the grocery store in a Lamborghini, and when he gets out, you see that he's built like a tank in terms of muscles. He is also well dressed and obviously has a strong sense of style. Next, you see the passenger door open up, literally, and the most attractive girl you've ever seen in your life gets out. And even though you've seen thousands of different girls throughout your lifetime, this girl is easily the most attractive and physically perfect in almost every way possible. The guy and his girlfriend proceed to walk into the store, and you just sit there thinking, damn, that dude has it all. This is what is known as superficial respect. And while it's fun to have, very enjoyable, and pretty important in certain situations, it's not the most important type. Something that all guys should know is that as men, we're simple. If you were to have a man and a woman write down what they want in a mating partner, you'd see something like this. Put simply, guys are very simple, so superficial respect is much easier to gain than deep respect. Superficial respect will make other guys respect you from a distance, such as when you walk into a room. To gain this form of respect, all that you need to do is obtain power in the form of knowledge or abilities. The neat thing about us guys and the fact that we're so simple is that it makes gaining surface level respect very easy. It's true that humans are much more complex than animals, but for the most part, about 90% of our decisions are still controlled by our primal instincts. You might walk around modern society and think to yourself, wow, these people are really well behaved, and we're nothing like animals, not realizing that the only thing stopping most of these people from quite literally turning into animals is the belief that they will be punished for doing so. Think about it. If there were no police and no threat of punishment for wrongdoing, it would only take minutes to see just how fragile modern society really is and how quickly people will default to their animal instincts. With that said, since all humans default to these instincts, gaining superficial respect from other men can be broken down into something as simple as being bigger than the other guy. A little secret for you younger guys out there. I've mentioned this in previous videos, but young age amplifies all of these primal signals. In other words, if you're between the ages of 12 to 18, everything superficial is greatly amplified. For example, at these younger ages, the importance of being strong and having decently sized muscles is huge. The superficial respect from other things like wealth and social status are also amplified. As you grow older, these superficial forms of respect grow weaker, but only slightly. So with that said, how do you actually gain superficial respect from other men? There are a few different ways, but one of the most enjoyable and long-lasting options is to build some muscle. In the animal kingdom, the biggest, strongest lion is respected by all other male lions, and most of them won't dare challenge him because he is the alpha male. In most prides of lions, the females outnumber the males by about a 3-to-1 ratio. The same is mostly true for alpha male humans, but instead of the females following him around in a group, they reside as contacts within his smartphone. The next time you get mad because you're stuck in traffic, consider this. Male lions are cast out of their pride around the age of 2 and forced to wander the plains with their brothers. If they survive long enough, they must eventually find a pride of lions and take it over by fighting to the death with the current alpha male of the group. Now that's a hard life. The point here is that guys are simple, and in most cases, you can easily gain the superficial respect that you want by having a decent amount of muscle on your frame. Now the other way to gain superficial respect is through abilities, such as mastery in a particular subject. For example, if you're really good at basketball, most aspiring male basketball players will automatically respect you just because of your talent. A few other ways to gain superficial respect involve displaying wealth, power, or social status. Now the cheapest and most rewarding way to gain superficial respect of other men is to work out and build some muscle. Since a large percentage of the population consists of weak males, putting on a moderate amount of muscle will allow you to gain the superficial respect of these men. But the only form of respect that truly matters is deep respect. Something to keep in mind is that among men, deep respect is always earned and never taken. You simply can't force other men to respect you on a deep level. A man could be extremely wealthy and hold incredible power and social status over other men, but these things do not automatically force other men to respect him. In fact, if his character is poor and underdeveloped, most other men will not respect him. To gain deep respect from other men, there are a few important changes that you need to make to your character if you haven't already. First, And arguably most importantly, you need to respect yourself. No man will ever respect you if you don't first respect yourself. Respecting yourself basically means standing up for your rights and not letting people walk all over you. Second, maintain your integrity. This means having a strong set of moral principles and knowing what's right and actually doing what's right instead of just thinking it. Just because you could drive off without anyone knowing that you just backed into someone's car doesn't mean that you should. Just because you could technically get away with the giant briefcase of cash that you just found doesn't mean that you should keep it. One of the best ways to make other men respect you is to develop the mindset of the alpha, which is facing your fears and learning to lead rather than follow. Put simply, gaining deep respect from other men involves striving to be the alpha in everyday situations, while also treating them with respect. Basically, just follow the golden rule and treat other men how you'd like them to treat you. Superficial respect feels good, but it's not nearly as important as deep respect. Superficial respect among men in its simplest form is gained through power. In other words, the stronger, wealthier, or more powerful you are in your life, the more superficial respect you'll gain from other men, because these are the things that us men tend to focus on most. Superficial respect among women is a bit different, and rather than being based on raw displays of strength and wealth, it is based almost exclusively on social status and the quality of the male the girl has managed to attract. It was Confucius who said, "Without feelings of respect, what is there to distinguish men from beasts?" Put simply, if you want other men to respect you, you must first respect yourself and work on improving your character. And with that said, you guys are awesome and I love every single one of you. And until next time, thanks for watching. With over 7.5 billion people on the planet, you're bound to come across some people who don't like you. And how you handle these situations will determine what kind of person you become. Whether you realize it or not, somebody is always watching your every action and thought. They watch how you react to situations in life, and based on your actions, they make conclusions about who you are as a person. But this person isn't who you might think. In fact, this person is you. It's the 800-pound gorilla in the room, or the subconscious part of your brain. Unlike your conscious brain, your subconscious never sleeps and never misses a single moment. Whether you realize it or not, your subconscious is actually what controls you most of the time. But something really awesome about this part of your brain is that it can be manipulated to make incredible things happen for you. Every single time someone uses you as a doormat and you allow it, your subconscious records what happens and alters your beliefs accordingly. Every time that you choose to be a pushover nice guy and sacrifice your rights, it's watching. Over time, your subconscious uses this information to form beliefs about who you are and what you're capable of. Every time that you assert yourself and stand up for yourself, your subconscious takes notice and begins to form new beliefs. Assertiveness is one of the most valuable traits that you can have because it's what makes you a better man, and it's also something that girls find very attractive. Once you start asserting yourself, you'll find that other men will respect you more and girls will find you more attractive. Being assertive won't help you make friends with everyone, but it will allow you to screen people for the friends who are actually worth having. I remember the first job that I had at a gas station in a bad part of town. This was before I started my journey of self-improvement and before I knew how to stand up for myself. I used to work the graveyard shift at my job, and I would work from 10 at night until 6 in the morning. One day, my assistant manager showed up to work about 15 minutes late. He said he slept in. Over the coming months, this started happening more frequently, and in many cases, he would come in 30 minutes or more late. I was having to work this time and not get paid for it, just because he was coming in late. As an employee, I had a right to leave after I clocked out, but this right was being stomped on by this guy every single time that he showed up late for no reason. At the time, I feared that if I confronted him about it, he would try to get me fired since he had control over the books and could easily do something to make me look bad. The definition of assertive is displaying a confident or forceful personality, and this is what I needed to do back then. So many guys, whether it's in a relationship, in school, at work, or even around strangers, are afraid to be assertive. This is one of the telltale signs of the pushover nice guy and why things don't really ever work out for him. Practicing assertiveness is talking to your neighbor about their dog who's barking and keeping you up all night. It's standing up for yourself when somebody has done you wrong. It is also about not being afraid to confidently take what's yours. And had I just been more assertive back when I worked my first job, maybe I wouldn't have had to eventually leave that job. The pushover nice guy is someone who is passive, and the complete opposite of passiveness is assertiveness. Most people these days just sit around and let life happen to them, and they take a passive position on everything. When things aren't working out in their life, they don't assert themselves and take control of the situation. When someone is treating them badly, instead of displaying assertiveness and confronting that person directly, they just sit around and say bad things about the person to other people. Don't be someone who is always trying to please other people, especially when it causes you to disrespect yourself in the process. With that said, there are some simple things that you can start doing right away to become the assertive alpha that you need to be in today's world. Tip number 1, stand up for your rights. As mentioned earlier, with 7.5 billion people on the planet, you will come across some people who will try to disrespect or take advantage of you. To practice being assertive, speak up for yourself and stand up for your rights. If your car keeps breaking down because of manufacturer defects and the dealership you bought it from is trying to tell you otherwise, when you know you're right, speak up for yourself. When you order a burrito from the Mexican restaurant down the street and it's made so poorly that it spills grease all over your brand new jeans, don't just sit there and take it. Go back to the restaurant and assert yourself, because even if you think that nobody is watching when you admit defeat and just keep the poorly made burrito, your subconscious is always watching. Every single time something like this happens and you don't assert yourself, your subconscious records how you handled the situation, and it becomes programmed to make you do the same thing the next time someone does you wrong. If things like this happen to you in social situations around other people, it's even more important to assert yourself, because now even more people are watching. So admitting defeat in this situation has an even greater impact on your subconscious and your beliefs about yourself. The next time someone cuts in front of you in line at the movies or at a store, practice being assertive and confidently let them know that they've cut in front of you and that you were in line before them. Don't be the pushover nice guy who just lets it happen, but also understand that assertiveness is the fine line between passive and too aggressive. You don't want to be the guy who punches somebody because they cut in front of them in a line, but you also don't want to be the guy who just allows it to happen without ever saying a word. Allowing things like this to happen over a long period of time will just make you a bitter and resentful person. Remember that assertiveness is handling these issues in a confident, controlled way. Tip number 3, know what you want. If you're like most people, you make hundreds of decisions every single day. Decision making is one of the easiest ways to practice being assertive, and this is especially great for those of you who have a girlfriend. Anytime that your girlfriend asks you to make a decision, don't be afraid to make it. When asked to make a decision about something, many guys are passive and will say, I don't know, or tell the girl that it's up to her. A huge part of being assertive is knowing what you want and not being afraid to make a decision. The next time that a girl asks you to pick between 2 shirts that she wants to wear, just pick the one that you like the most. When she asks you where you guys are going to go for dinner, you can ask her what sounds good to her, but be the one in the end who makes the final decision on where to go. Girls are more attracted to guys who can assert their opinion and guys who know what they want at any given moment. If you're thinking about buying a new Corvette from the dealership, find out what a fair price is and know the highest amount that you're willing to pay before you go in. When you're around your male friends, don't be the guy that all the other guys disrespect in front of the group. Being assertive in front of girls will make them more attracted to you, and being assertive in front of men will make them respect you. Tip number 4, look the part. Your body language and voice tone are extremely important because they are constantly used by others every second of the day to determine your personal confidence level. When you're being assertive, you should be standing upright and speaking in a controlled way. If you have trouble with the volume of your voice, pretend like you're trying to project your voice to reach an audience who is on the other side of the room. Think about the normal volume you would normally use to speak, and consciously raise your voice a little bit louder than what your normal volume would be. When asserting yourself, make sure to hold eye contact with the person about 70% of the time. Another neat trick to instantly boost your confidence when asserting yourself involves raising your chin about 1 inch from where it would normally be when looking directly at the other person. The old saying, keep your chin up, is told to people who are feeling down and unconfident about life. So keeping your chin up and slightly raised shows that you are confident about what you are saying. Tip number 5, sweat the little things. A lot of people underestimate the power of the tiniest actions and how they can affect the overall outcome of your life. Once you start asserting yourself, Even if it seems trivial, over time, you'll notice incredible changes in your life and how other people treat you. And unless you live under a rock, you'll be presented with several opportunities every single day that you can use to practice being more assertive. If a friend has crossed the line and went from joking to disrespecting you, let him know that he needs to stop doing it. If the person who covers your shift at work is always late and causing problems for you, assert yourself and speak to them directly to let them know that it's wrong and disrespectful to you. Here's another great example for everyday life. Imagine you grab a bite to eat from a restaurant or a fast food joint, and the food is so poorly made that most people would consider it unacceptable. Tell whoever is in charge about it, and if they don't make it right, talk to someone higher up. But keep in mind that you won't always get a good result when asserting yourself, and in some cases, the situation can get downright nasty. But it's not really about getting good results. The whole point is to stand up for your rights or beliefs in a confident, controlled way. Even when you don't think anyone's watching, your subconscious is the 800-pound gorilla who is always there, always waiting to see how you handle these challenges and programming itself accordingly. Don't be the passive person who always admits defeat and suffers lost confidence and self-esteem as a result of it. Instead, become the assertive alpha that you were designed to be and stand up for your rights and for your beliefs. With that said, I love you guys, and until next time, thanks for watching.